Hello everybody and welcome back to another video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. 50 years ago NBC aired for the first time the premiere episode of the third season of classic Star Trek TV show called Spock's Brain. And these are my honest opinions about it. Spock's brain is a giant piece of shit. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. If you have some free time, feel free to watch any of the other videos you'll find on my channel, and see you very soon. No, seriously, this episode sucks. What else can I say about it? I don't want to say this is stupid every minute, but let's go to the plot. The Enterprise crew watches a ship approaching, and everybody pretends that it's a perfect design that they have never seen before, or even could create. So, what is the great design? It's just a rocket ship. A stupid looking rocket ship, which looks like it belongs to a 1930s Flash Gordon episode, and not a serious sci-fi episode. But suddenly something weird appears on the bridge. A woman. Wow, we have never seen something like this before. Imagine my shock. A woman! Seriously, why is this treated like something strange? She touches a button on the thing on her hand and everybody drops unconscious. The thing is so powerful it even turns off the light. Cool little gadget. Then she touches Spock's head and smiles. That's the weirdest teaser Star Trek ever had, and the sad thing is that this was the most normal thing which happens in this episode. After the opening credits, everybody wakes up, everybody except Spock. Dr. McCoy requests the captain's presence on sickbay and tells him that Spock is not dead, he's worse than dead, his brain is gone. And my huge respect to both DeForest Kelley and William Shatner. I would definitely not be able to deliver those idiotic lines, at least with a straight face. Kirk decides that they will search for Spock's brain in the galaxy, even though McCoy tells him that they have to search for it in the whole galaxy, and even if they find it, nobody will be able to put the brain back in. And to make it even more complicated, they have to do it within 24 hours. Okay, so Spock is dead. The end? No, they do the search for the brain, and of course they end up after some 15 hours within the Sigma Draconis system. They have 3 planets to choose from. None of them is evolved enough to be able to create an ion-powered ship, so Kirk is the one who has to make the decision, and he decides to go to the planet which is in its ice age, because there was some energy emission. Kirk, Scotty, Chekhov and 2 red shirts beam down and are soon ambushed by a bunch of homeless people. They catch one of them and he tells them that they are usually being collected by bringers of pain and delight. Kirk is intrigued and wants to know more, probably because it's his kind of king, but the crazy hobo attacks him and runs away. Kirk lets him run and calms down McCoy. He beams down, but he's not alone. He brings with him a remote-controlled Spock. And Leonard Nimoy has a very special look at his face. A look which says something like, "Please somebody kill me." Get used to his look, he has it through the whole episode. I'm actually not surprised. After all the wonderful work he has done in the previous 2 seasons, now he's playing a remotely controlled zombie man. Oh, did I mention that he became an alcoholic during shooting this season? Chekhov and the 2 red shirts stay there and heat up a rock, which surprisingly makes sense, while the rest of the characters go into a near cave. A cave which is of course an elevator. When the optical shaking effect stops, a door opens and they see a hot woman. So what does Kirk do when he sees a hot woman? Well, he shoots her, of course. This feels so wrong in so many ways. Kirk communicates with Spock's brain using his communicator, which is stupid thing number 1726, but they run into another hot woman with 2 more crazy hobos. She pushes another button and they again fall unconscious. When they wake up, they'll find a Batman utility belt over their bodies, which I suppose is meant to be some kind of a restricting bolt. Just like many other things in this episode, these things look like they were created by 5-year-olds. Do you remember when Star Trek used to inspire scientists with their great tech? I already miss those times. They meet Kara, the leader of the Imorgs, and she has no clue what they're talking about when they claim that she was on their ship and she stole Spock's brain. Brain and brain, what is brain? However, they now know why they took the brain. They use it as the controller, which is a thing which keeps the air below breathable and the temperature nice warm. Kirk tries to pretend that they are friends of the controller and they want to talk to him, but Kara is not as dumb as she looks and lets them alone with the homeless junkies. But they don't know Kirk. He is just happy that he gets to punch somebody. They, together with Zombie Spock, leave the room, and thanks to the communicator they are searching for Spock's brain. They get to the room where the brain is inside the Romulan cloaking device, and Kara waits them there. Why? I guess it's because she read the script. Anyway, she pushes the button on her wrist and they all fall down in pain. All except for Zombie Spock. When Kirk notices it, he gets to his remote control, so Kirk uses his remote control to force Zombie Spock to grab Kara's remote control, and after he pushes it, the Batman belts fall down, and they are free to mistreat the women as much as they want. Kara explains that they got the knowledge from the so-called teacher, which is a funky-looking hairdryer used for implanting knowledge for a couple of hours. They force the teacher onto her head, and when she gets wiser, she tricks them and holds them at gunpoint. And Kirk, after a few seconds, tricks her back. So yes, the whole sequence was absolutely pointless. She still refuses to return them the brain and refuses to put it back into Spock's skull, so what to do now? Dr. McCoy volunteers to try the teacher. Spock protests because he is afraid that he might not survive it, because the teacher was not planned to be used by a human. But he does it anyway. He gets the knowledge and starts the surgery. But soon he starts to forget what to do, so Kirk recommends that he should first activate Spock's vocal cords. That's so stupid. Yes, just when I thought that it can't get more stupid, Spock now instructs McCoy how to do the surgery on his brain. That's so dumb that I don't know what to say. Of course they are successful and this episode again ends with a big laugh like nothing happened, but I don't care. The most important thing to me is that it does end. What is there to be said about this episode? Well, I'll start with the positives. It will be a much shorter list. I really like the fact that the other bridge officers like Uhura, Chekhov and Sulu have finally something to do. Even though it's just a couple of lines of dialogue, I really like the fact that Shatner and Kelly are taking this seriously. I really like the angles the director used. It is extremely rare to see the bridge from the back and an interaction with the view screen. And that's about it. The script is horrible and I don't understand what happened. It was written by Lee Cronin and he should definitely know Star Trek. He was the producer and the head writer for more than a year and wrote some of the best Trek episodes ever. I personally blame the network and the production team. NBC lowered the budget on an already low-budget TV show and moved it to Friday 10 p.m., the so-called Friday death slot. I take it as a proof that NBC was no longer interested in producing a good show. They simply wanted to get rid of it, and the only reason why they didn't cancel it was the famous letter-writing campaign led by the Trimbles. Roddenberry, who was probably the hardest working member of the production team during the first 2 years, stepped back, and his work for the third season was reduced into basically reading the scripts and writing memos for them. Even though he kept the executive producer title and salary, the actual showrunner was a brand new guy called Fred Freiberger, who didn't understand Star Trek at all and tried to turn it into a Monster of the Week type of show. Very soon DC Fontana, one of the best writers Star Trek ever had, and a former story editor on the show, left too, after she found out that she won't be able to work with Freiberger. Bob Justman, who was with the show since the very first pilot, The Cage, and was the producer for seasons 1 and 2, he left too. David Gerald, another very talented writer, left soon after them. Paramount didn't care that much about the show too. It wasn't their series, it was just one of the shows they inherited after they bought the Silu during Star Trek's second season. So all of the people who really cared about the quality of Star Trek were gone. Without them and without a proper budget and a good broadcast schedule, the third season was doomed. And the fact that they thought that Spock's brain was good enough to be a season opener is another proof about their lack of any care. Well, at least this episode can be funny if you get really, and I mean really drunk. So, how would I rate this one? On my scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete crap, 5 is just average, and 10 is a masterpiece, I would give this episode 2 out of 10. Yes, I think this is the lowest rating I ever gave to an original series episode. This is definitely not a 0 out of 10 because there were some things which I liked, and there will be much worse episodes in the third season. But as always, those were just my opinions. Let me know, what do you think about this legendary episode? Did you love it, hate it, think it's average, or is it so bad that it's good? If you enjoyed this episode, please click that thumbs up button, and if you have some free time, you can watch any of the other videos on my channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon. My next video will be probably about the next episode of The Next Generation, and will be hopefully up worst case this weekend. Thank you very much again, and see you soon. Bye.